Hi, I'm Claire and this is Top 5 Wednesday Creepy Settings. Top 5 Wednesday is run by Sam over at Thoughts on Tomes, and I will leave a link to the Goodreads group in the description box below if you'd like to go and check it out for the next few upcoming topics and stuff like that. This topic was quite interesting for me because I don't read a lot of horror and I don't specifically set out to pick a lot of books that are going to scare me, but I do read a lot of fantasy and there are some delightfully creepy settings to be found. The question is, what do you find personally creepy and what specifically gets you? And now on to the books. At number 5, I want to mention Down Among the Sticks and Bones by Seanan McGuire. I don't want to talk about this too much because I'm still in the middle of reading it, but it's such a great atmospheric, creepy Halloween read that I thought I should at least bring it up. This is the second book in Seanan McGuire's Wayward Children series, which is about a boarding school for children who have been to magical realms and fantastic fairylands and then have come back to the mundane world and don't really know what to do with themselves. And in this book we follow two characters from the previous novella and the adventures that they have in their magical world. But honestly, for me, the creepiest thing about this is the opening passage and the parents and just the description of the just a grinding monotony of their life, and they're trying to conform to everything and to like mold these children to conform exactly to what they want. And fair enough, I guess the parent thing isn't really a setting type of thing, it's a creepy passage in the book, but it's not really a setting, although I think this still qualifies because the setting later on when the girls are in their magical fairyland is also really creepy. But I wanted to mention this one, however incoherently, because I'm reading it right now and I'm absolutely loving it. At number 4 we have The Other World from Coraline by Neil Gaiman. Now I don't know if this setting actually has a name, but I'm going to go with The Other World because we have the other mother, so that makes sense. When Coraline goes through a trapdoor in her house and finds herself in a mirror replica of her house where everything is almost the same but not quite, including obviously her parents having buttons instead of eyes and her other mother wanting to sew buttons on her eyes. That is quite creepy, but I find the idea of something that is almost right but just wrong enough that you can feel that it's wrong and you can sense that it's wrong, like that idea I find very creepy personally. So the entire setting of the same kind of building with the same neighbors but not quite is pretty creepy to me. At number 3 we have The Palace in Monstrous Volume 1 Awakening by Marjorie Liu and Sana Takeda. Now if you've read this you're probably thinking, well, it's incredibly violent and there are demons, but I don't know about creepy necessarily, and fair enough, but for me I found the contrast between how ornate and beautiful and highly decorated everything is and the beautiful kind of steampunk art deco art style of the book, like the contrast between that and all the violence and all the darkness of the story, I found very disturbing and very creepy. Like it definitely was something that I thought was really unsettling when I was reading it, and I found that to be particularly true in The Palace, where our main character Micah is being held a captive by this weird order of warrior nun ladies. Everything is even more ornate and even more highly decorated, and there is such an insistence on etiquette and how to address each other and how to be proper and how to behave according to certain rules, but then it hides this really brutal, it doesn't even try to hide, but there is, at the same time as there is all of this decorum, there is this really brutal core to what these warrior women do, and that I found particularly disturbing. At number 2 we have perhaps a more straightforward choice, The Wood from Uprooted by Naomi Novik. Now, I love this book, and that is in great part because of the Wood, which is a super creepy villain. It's a setting, it's a character, and it just clearly wants to do evil. Once you get to the end of the book, you realize perhaps that was a bit of a misnomer, but throughout the book there is certainly the feeling that the Wood is encroaching on the valley, like literally creeping closer and closer to where our main character Agnieszka lives. And when the characters go inside the Wood, there is very clearly a sense that the Wood is hostile to them and would like to put them in a tree and keep them there, which is very, very creepy. And to me, the fact that the story addresses this kind of malignant intent from the Wood and makes it a part of the story and kind of resolves it at the end makes it even better, because feels, it gave me so many feels. Creepiness first and then feels. At number 1, we've got The Entire Town of Fall River, Massachusetts from Maplecroft by Cherie Priest. I love a lot of Cherie Priest's writing. I like her general ideas and sensibility. The Southern Gothic thing that she does really appeals to me, and so I had to figure out which Cherie Priest book I was going to put on this list, as opposed to a list of 5 creepy settings that were all from her books. But I chose this one because this is the book about why Lizzie Borden murdered her parents with 40 whacks of an axe. And the answer that Priest goes for in these books is, what if she murdered them because they were turning into Cthulhu fish monsters, and that was the only way that she could save her town, and then the entire town just hates her for the rest of her life and is afraid of her. And so in this book, what I felt was really creepy was the double threat of the actual Cthulhu monsters, the actual, you know, fish thingies that come out of the deep, but also the people of the town being really hostile and judgmental and scared. They do think she murdered 2 people with an axe, and if we thought our neighbor had done that, we'd all freak out too. But the atmosphere of oppression, the ostracism from everybody else around them apart from Lizzie and her sister, that is something that feels very real. Yes, the Cthulhu fish monsters are scary, but they don't feel real. They don't feel real in the way that an entire town against you, hating you and being scared of you, and just the ostracism and the social isolation from that feels a lot more like a real thing. So to me, it is more oppressive and it is more creepy. So that's it. These were 5 favorite creepy settings of mine. I hope you enjoyed this video, even though I don't think I made a lot of sense at some points. But let me know in the comments below if you have any kind of spooky, creepy, Halloweeny books that you would recommend for this time of year. If you'd like to see more from me, you can check out a previous video right about here. And if you haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button that's on my face right about here for new videos from me every week. I've been Claire, thanks so much for watching, and see you soon.